P-I-C-O.
PICO Prospective. PICO Prospective.
And welcome to another edition of PICO Prospectives, the show brought to you by AVNation and the fine gentlemen at PICOPros.com. Thank you for joining us today for your show, the news and information on Pico projection and the revolution it's bringing. First off, then, let me introduce you to the producers and the hosts of this show. They are Rich and Paul Marganski. Gentlemen, how are you?
Great, George. How are you?
Thanks, George. How are you?
All right. We've had a little bit of technical difficulty today, which has been a lot of fun. Also joining us today is a special guest. He is one Chris Coppola. He is the owner of All About the Galaxy Beam, a YouTube page. All About the Galaxy Beam. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks. Hello.
We'll get back to Chris in just a moment. But first, of course, as we always do, we start with the news. Gentlemen, what is happening in Pico world this week?
Well, I guess I'll start it off. One of the more exciting things in the last couple weeks is actually related to a company called Lemtopix. And we featured them a number of times on our website. And what Lemtopix does, they're a Swiss company that was born out of what's it called, the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, or EPFL for short. And what they did, they're a technology center, if you will, and they spun off the company called Lemtopix. And they specialize in the MEMS-scanned mirror laser beam scanning for portable projection and other applications. So much like some of the other companies like Btendo or ST Micro or Microvision, they're in kind of the same space where they're looking at applications like Pico projection, head-up displays, potentially eyewear as well, much like Google Glass or something like this. So the most exciting thing in the last couple of weeks is actually that Lemtopix at the AWE conference, which is Augmented World Exposition. It's a newer conference. It's about 5 years old. They actually showed an advanced prototype of their smart glasses, which again, much like Google Glass. And while we can't post any video of it, there's none to be had. I just so happen to have my own Lemtopix demonstrator unit that I've crafted out of Legos and an old pair of glasses. So maybe this is what it looks like. I haven't seen it. This was like 30 seconds of development, and we're just about there.
Nice.
So that said, it's good to see yet another entry into the wearables, especially the smart glasses. It remains to be seen how it gets received. I mean, you can see this is pretty kludgy. This isn't too far off from what Google Glass is, and it's quite annoying. And it's exciting, though. And Lemtopix, again, not just smart glasses, embedded projection head-up displays. They're actually cash flow positive for 2 years in a row. They're a private company, so we don't know their exact revenues or anything like this. But a really exciting company to watch and to see how this whole laser-based MEMS scan mirror, how everything turns out, because there's multiple players in it. And with the advent of the direct green laser finally being in mass production, you're starting to see more activity by these companies. And it remains to be seen who ultimately wins, one, the Pico projection space, but more specifically to Lemtopix, will they be the winner in the laser beam scanning space? And it's really interesting. At the moment, there's not much more than that. As soon as we see some video from that AWE conference, or we actually requested a podcast with them, and hopefully we'll be able to line something up with Lemtopix. But for now, that's really about it on the smart glasses prototype.
Well, does that mean that they're really looking at the heads-up display? Is that really where this is going?
I think they're looking at multiple ways to generate revenue when it comes down to it. The smart glasses, based on everything I'm seeing, eyewear is kind of the hardest one to do because it has to be really, really small and really, really efficient, because the battery on something this small is going to be really small. Head-up display is sort of the easier win because you can get higher margin. Your cost could be higher and the unit size could be a little bigger. But then you're in the product life cycle of an automotive manufacturer, so that life cycle is a little bit longer. And then consumer displays, if you're embedded in phones, you have to be really small and efficient. But if you're an accessory unit to a smartphone or tablet, that's probably head-up displays and accessory devices are probably the first two that we'll see wide adoption, in my opinion, based on everything that we've researched over the last 7 years or so.
Right. Right. Well, there was other big news today that, well, on the front of it didn't seem to have much to do with PICO projections. The Apple WWDC, the World Developer Conference, they actually squeaked out some news that is some good interest. Yes.
Right. So there's what they had like Apple kicked off their conference this week, Worldwide Developer Conference, big event where they announced new software, new apps, and they usually talk about some new hardware, that type of stuff that they're going to be announcing. No new hardware that has been announced. Basically, just a bunch of cool software, a lot of like health stuff. New programming language was announced. It's called Swift. Make it a little bit easier for people to develop on iOS. The other thing is they updated their OS X operating system for the Mac, and also they're coming out with a new iOS 8. So they announced a little bit of the new features that are to come. And then they also they're going to be releasing the new Xcode development software tool that they use, or that people use to develop their iOS. A couple things that we noticed floating around the internet are that in the Xcode development system or development environment, there's an option to run your iOS apps on a simulator called a resizable iPhone. This is very interesting because it hints at one of the rumors that's been floating around in terms of different size screens for an iPhone. So a lot of people have been talking about a larger iPhone, people want a bigger iPhone, and it looks like they may come up with a bigger iPhone. That's not really the big thing that I'm really concerned about. One of the things that I was wondering about with the resizable simulator and a new operating system, putting those two things together, I think they're going to be heading in a direction where you're going to be seeing possibly more wearable type hardware. Tim Cook announced in the Q2 earnings call that Apple is going to be coming out with something. He teased that they would be coming out with some kind of new computer category, some kind of new category for a device. I don't know what that is. Nobody, except for Apple, knows really what that is, so we can speculate. But could it be an iWatch? Could it be something else? Apple, how this is related to PICO projecting in general is that Apple has a bunch of patents that they've applied for and they've received that have to do with projection. Projection within a living room, projection with interacting with a computer system, whether it be 3D environment, that type of thing. But they do have an interest in projection, and they do have stuff out there and that is related to PICO projection. And could this new category be something with a projector? I don't think so personally, but
it might be a little early for Apple. I mean, yeah, as we've said before, they're not the first one to jump into a new space like MP3 players or smart TVs and all that stuff. But when they do it right.
So I don't think we're going to see a projector type of device for quite some time from Apple. But
unless it's an accessory device, maybe, or something.
Yeah.
Pretty specialized. I mean, you saw that one of the patents that they've been granted actually has a sort of you actually do projection meshing, so you have multiple projectors in your laptop and they kind of mesh together to produce one really bright, big image. Who knows? I think it's still early for that, but eventually, I hope to see some of that. But from Apple, I think they're more conservative. As innovative as they are, on the same side, they're conservative in the sense that they wait until the technology is really ready.
And do you think they could just buy these patents to protect themselves from other people getting into that?
Yeah,
I've seen
absolutely.
the designs that they have for the MacBooks with the projector embedded in them.
Yeah,
we haven't seen that yet,
no.
And I don't think we're going to see that. I think we'll actually step away from the laptops eventually. I think the laptops and iPads.
The future is going to be something like your smartphone that has, maybe it's a little thicker because it has a projector, but that, there was a concept where had an embedded laser keyboard and a projector, so you carry this around instead of a laptop, and then you just place it down on your desk, and it projects your keyboard and your laptop, and you don't have to worry about a laptop at all.
I think what we talked about last time, the Beats acquisition, is pretty important with this too. I think they can actually, with their Apple TV, I think they're changing the way that people are going to be developed. They're not just going to allow people to develop for just iPhone and iPad size devices.
Right.
Apple TV could be a big thing. Developing for a 47-inch TV versus a 27-inch TV, something like that could play into it. Also, I think with the Beats acquisition, they could make a move to get into cars. I think they're already doing that in a way. They're trying to get Siri integrated with automobiles. Ford has their sync system, which has become really popular. I think Ford really took off for them. But
so they want to get into your home, they want to get into your car, everything.
Well, let's bring Chris into this.
Yeah.
Chris is Chris Coppola. He is from All About the Galaxy Beam. It's a YouTube podcasting channel. And Chris, let's bring you into this conversation before we discuss all about your channel. Galaxy Beam and Samsung have been way ahead of Apple in these kind of things, have they not?
Yeah, right. I mean, they started the projector idea in 2010 when they brought out the first Galaxy Beam. But it had some issues. There were some technical problems, and they didn't really advertise it on a big scale. Only, I think, in the Asian market a little bit. So not many people knew about it. Then they brought out the Galaxy Beam that everybody basically knows. That's the GTI 8530, the one that I have. And sorry.
Oh, I was just saying. Oh, you have one. That's cool.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so that came out in 2012. And the problem is, I mean, they did, I think, way too less advertising for that phone. And because of that, a lot of people think, because they don't really know much about that phone, that it's not good, that the quality is not good enough. So that's why they're not buying it. So I think that was quite a big mistake from Samsung, that, in my opinion, they have a great product, but they don't advertise it enough. And I bought the phone in 2012, I think it was. And first I thought, okay, I just try it out. It's nothing special. It has a projector in it, and I could maybe use it a little bit. But soon I realized the huge potential that the phone has. So, for example, I swapped my TV with my phone. So I don't use my TV anymore. I watch everything on the phone.
That's cool.
Because it's so much bigger. Look, when you have my flat screen is a joke compared to the projection size of the beam. And the quality is actually very good, in my opinion, for a 15 lumen projection. And it's 3 times bigger than my flat screen TV. So for me, there is no question what I'm going to use. Plus, I connect my sound system to it, and I have like a small cinema, and I can take that everywhere. The main point is you can put that into your pocket. You can't put your flat screen TV into your pocket. So, and it doesn't stop at just watching. For example, you can watch a movie when it's bright enough. You can watch it on an 80 to 100-inch screen. If it's darker, you can watch it on a 60 to 70-inch screen. Because Samsung promotes it as the size, the projection size is only 50-inch, but it's not. So people think it's only 50, but it's not. So I think, they could have done it a little bit better. And the thing is, with a projector inside the phone, you can not only watch movies, you can also connect your PS3 controller, and you can play HD Android games on a huge screen. You can use, for example, the Bluetooth keyboard, the iPod. It's the Retech Mini. It has an integrated laser pointer in there. And you can play, for example, Angry Birds, and I already made a video about that. You can do so much things. You can play emulators. Before I never really knew about it. I'm not that long into Android, actually. And when I saw how many people actually are really into emulators, like the PS1, N64, Neo Geo, Super Nintendo, and the thing is, you can all install that on your Beam, and you can project it on a 100-inch screen. When I first saw that, when I played Street Fighter 2, which I played 15 years ago, and when I could play that again on my phone, seriously, I had to freak out, It's just incredible what you can do. You can basically project anything which is on your phone to the screen. You can, if you can connect the Bluetooth mouse and the Bluetooth keyboard. You can work on Word documents. You can really, work on the phone. You can stream YouTube videos, websites. I mean, the possibilities are really huge. You can also stream. For example, you have a laptop, and the laptop is in whatever, in the USA, in the States, and you're on holiday in Australia. You can connect from Australia to your laptop, and you can stream it onto the projector via a streaming app. So I don't know. It's
if I could jump in, I just want to highlight. I mean, your YouTube channel is fantastic. Not just for the Pico projector enthusiasts, but anybody that wants tips and tricks for the Android operating system, ways to you got something on there hiding files that you don't necessarily, like photos that you don't want necessarily anybody to be able to see, or I can't even think off the top of my head, but you have a bunch of videos that provide tips and tricks, one for the projection capability, but for anything Android-based, it seems, which obviously the Galaxy Beam uses Android, and it's a really great YouTube channel. So anybody watching this right now that doesn't already subscribe to that channel, be sure to check it out and like it, because there's a ton of great videos on there.
Thanks. I mean, what I figured out basically when I go through some YouTube videos, that a lot of them, the reviews or the tutorials that people make, they are not that detailed sometimes. So there is stuff missing. And when I used to, for example, watch those videos and I have a question and I type it into the comment box, I usually don't get the reply.
Exactly.
And that's kind of pissing me off. So I thought if I do a video and I explain something to people, I want to do this as precise as possible. So that's why I don't only focus on just beam things, but I also focus on things where in my opinion are good to know and important to know. So, and I do that in different. Basically, somebody can write into in Arabic on the comment box, and I will use Google Translator and try to help the person. So I don't have any boundaries. I try to help everybody. So
yeah, we're very much the same way. I mean, anytime anybody comments on our videos, I mean, we're there right away. Even if we can't give them the answer, we try to guide them toward the OEM that can give them the answer. I think that's really important, and a lot of people on their YouTube channels don't really manage their page like that, and I think that's a big mistake, because you really want to build a community of people that have similar interests or are interested in your products or whatever your videos are about.
And I mean, one thing which I realized when I did the channel, that when people started to buy the phone and they contact me, they tell me that what I read when I, for example, watch some Samsung S5, S4 videos, some iPhone videos, when they present the phone, people say, I like it, I think it's really cool, it's neat. But what I read about the comments for the Beam, they say they love it. That means they create really an emotion with that product, with having a Pico projector inside the phone, and I think that's a huge difference. And seriously, for me, it's one of the best concepts that have ever been made, and it's just not well developed enough at the moment. It could be done so much better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of the other important things besides, one of the other important things in my opinion as well, that the design of a phone, if you create the phone as a company, it has to look appealing, it has to look good. And the problem is that, that has not really been done in my opinion. So if you want people to buy a product, it has to first look great, and it has to have, you have to give support to the people. For example, the phone, the Beam, has the latest version is a Jelly Bean version 4.1.2, but it has some issues, and those issues, they were not being taken care of. So that's why I created a petition to make Samsung bring out a stable operating system. because there are still some things missing in this operating system. But yeah, I think there are some things that could be done better, in my opinion. But in general, I mean, if I would buy, and if somebody would tell me which phone would you choose, which phone would you buy, I would always buy the Beam because it's fantastic. I mean,
well, let me jump in here for a second and ask you a question. First of all, is the Galaxy Beam available in the U.S., guys?
Not that I know of.
I don't think so.
We should point out that Chris is joining us from Malta. He's staying up late for us. Thank you very much, sir, to join us and talk about it. And you are not a paid representative of Samsung, right? This is not to diminish any, this is a fan page. This is a user groups page. You guys experiment and promote because you love this product, right?
Exactly. I'm basically, the channel is me. It's only me. So, I mean, I get tips and people help me as well. So basically, we work on it together, kind of. Well, I mean, I try my best to help people and to make this phone better, to make the whole idea better. I try to raise awareness. Let's put it that way. This concept, this PICO projector concept, has a future.
Take me through this. We're watching one of the videos right now, which is a detailed gaming setup for the Galaxy Beam with your PS3 gamepad. You mentioned that earlier. But you guys do instructive video, how-to videos. You've also been experimenting with some new possibilities with these boxes. Take me through that collaboration process. Does someone bring it to you? Do you guys create it? What's going on there?
Well, I just take something and I play around until it works. So I thought, okay, let's try to play Android games on it. Let's check if it works. And so I just got 6 axes and I connected it and it worked. So I turned on the projector, it worked. So it's a lot of things are just learning by doing, basically. I never thought that all those things would work out, and when it worked out, I was seriously amazed. So, and there are other things. For example, I didn't try that out yet, but you can connect your Beam, the projector phone, with your PS3 connected to computer, and that means you can stream PS3 games from your PS3 console to the projector on a huge screen. And I mean, come on.
Exactly.
If that's not freaking awesome, I don't know. Because the thing is, it's one thing to play something on a laptop or on a LCD flat screen, and it's a totally different story if you play it on a big screen, because you are in the game. You can't compare the experience, and you can put that into your pocket. You can take it to your friend. You can take it to the beach. You can take it to a party. You can play visuals on it. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's awesome.
Hey, Chris, I have a quick question for you. Do you see an opportunity for apps in this? So to easily have your phone, the Galaxy Beam in this case, interface with different devices. Do you see an opportunity for apps to kind of bridge that gap to make it seamless to the user to connect to the PS4 or the controller or whatever it might be? Is that the bridge, or is it on the Android operating system to just make it seamless?
Well, in my opinion, ideally, I already played around with it. I already did a video about that. If you connect the projector with a voice command program, which was ATA, which I already did the video about, you could basically, the good thing about ATA is that you don't have to touch your phone at any time. It's not like Siri, you have to press a button and it does something. You can really put the phone aside and you can totally command the phone. For example, I say to the phone, listen, I want to watch whatever, Need for Speed movie, and the projector goes on and I can watch the movie.
Wow.
I can surf it. No, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes when I think about it, it blows my mind how many things you can do. I mean, obviously, it's not all optimized. I mean, you can always do things, to make it work better. But voice control and projection is something which is, I mean, if it works, perfectly, I think it's well, it's out of this world. Put it that way. And I mean, there are some apps which you can. Well, there are the normal gaming apps which you can use. I mean, the 6-axis, which is one of the main things if you want to play it with the PST gamepad. There are apps for visuals, like you can, go to a friend's place and you have a party. You just visualize everything, which is like it plays according to the music. There is an app for that. Yeah. There are a lot of apps that also could be created that would make the phone better, I think.
I think if somebody can do it, imagine a world when 10% of the population has a projector phone, let's just say. How cool would it be if we can get an app that would be able to sync those together so that you could do the projection meshing, so that you'd have like 3 of your friends together that have a projector phone, either overlay them to get a super bright image or mesh them so that you have 3 times ultra wide screen or something like this. I think it's doable with different sensors. It's just one, the app itself, and then 2, just the sensors around it. I think there's an opportunity here. So it's like it's like a crowdsourced bright projector, because my 20 lumen projector of yours and the other ones is a 60 lumen projector. You know what I mean? I think it's like a crowdsourced ultra portable projector. But I think that'd be really cool.
I mean, one thing is which a function which the Beam has, which has not been really exploited enough, is, I mean, it works, but until there are some limitations, is that the phone has the overhead projector as well. That means everything that the camera records, it will be projected. And that would be, for example, ideal for lecturers and teachers. You just need to, create something that, I already tried it and it works until a certain distance. You can basically scan a photo or whatever, or just a piece of paper with some text, and you project it to your audience. Yeah. And you don't need to, carry around a laptop. You don't need to carry around an extra projector. You can all do that with one simple phone. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I think it's what else do you want? I mean, seriously. The thing is that, yes, speak. Sorry.
I was just going to say that I think that brings up the killer app. Once there's a killer app out there, that app that everybody uses, but because using a phone, using the Galaxy Beam for playing games, watching videos, we all know about that, right? I think a lot of people know that you could probably watch your video content on the phone, but I think if there's a killer app for like exactly what you just said, with teachers in a school or an education environment where they're using that to do an overhead type projection. That's a killer app for education.
It's fun. I just got was it email or no? It was on Twitter. So there's somebody in Africa that I talk to from time to time on Twitter, and electricity is not available in the rural areas. So they could easily bring something like the Galaxy Beam and do an overhead projection to teach students about whatever it is they're teaching, rather than if they don't have access to a flat screen TV or a full-size projector. That would be ideal from an overhead projection standpoint. Perfect example.
A friend of mine, for example, is an English teacher here in Malta, in one of the English schools, and he bought the Beam because, I showed it to him, and he told me that he uses the phone for his classes. He just projects some comics onto the wall, and people basically have to say in English what's going on in the in the comic, and like that, they improve their English, and I think it was a really great idea. I mean, he just takes it out of his pocket, and everyone's like, and I mean, seriously, the possibilities, in my opinion, are endless. I mean, only thing is, it has 15 lumens. Yeah. So if it's very bright, you can still project, but you need to go closer. So it really depends on the light settings. The brighter it is, the closer you have to go. But still, you can use it basically in daylight if you just go close enough. Yeah.
So if you had a guess, or not guess, but in your opinion, for the Galaxy Beam, the one you're using anyways, is resolution or brightness the more limiting factor on here?
It's brightness. It's a lumen. So
I figured.
If it would be, I mean, let's put it that way. You can play HD and full HD movies on the phone, and I watch, as I said before, I stopped using my TV. I just watch everything on my phone, and the resolution, in my opinion, is very good. But the brightness is good as well, but it could be better, especially when it's, you know, when it's you don't have that much darkness, or if it's not that bright in the room, there are some small limitations. But if it would have, for example, double the lumen, 30, then I would just, you know, kickstart. So yeah.
I guess it may not be available, but do you plan on getting the Galaxy Beam 2?
Yes, for sure. I mean, one thing is which I don't understand is actually the Galaxy Beam 3. I mean, the first one came out in 2010. The second one.
Yeah, I know. It's really the third. I know.
And I mean, I don't know why they named it, but doesn't matter. I will get it for sure. I will get it. I've been trying actually desperately to get it. Well, I contacted 5 people already. The problem is you can only buy it in China, so you have to be in China, and that, you know, sucks. So I really try. No, seriously. I really try to you know, get somebody to send me the phone. If I won't manage, I will get it in July for sure. Somebody actually is flying down and is going to get it. So then I can review it properly, because, well, I mean, I think it's kind of my duty, and I'm really desperate, you know, to get another phone, because I don't really like the looks of the Beam too much, and in my opinion, the Beam 3 looks better. I have unfortunately, no information about the projector. One guy bought it actually, and he said there is no information about the projector even in the manual, which is, I don't know.
I think the whole especially brightness. There's some kind of you know, say marketing people want to, you know, they want to avoid saying, oh, it's only 15 lumens or whatever, because it sounds so bad.
It sounds. It's not. That's the thing.
I agree.
And the problem is, I mean, when you look at even the Beam that I have now, I mean, okay, it's only the one that's actually we're talking about. When you look at the reviews, people have usually phones in their hands for a review. That means for a couple of minutes they cannot really test it properly, and you know, they don't really have an idea what they're talking about. I mean, you can't talk about a product that you only hold in your hands for a couple of minutes. So you have to have it and test it out. So the perception of people is that 15 lumen is not enough. But once they buy the phone, they really understand, hey, actually it's, you know, good enough for sure. So, well, but yeah, about the Beam 3, I mean, I will get it for sure. What I know is that it can be routed. So one guy which sent me those pictures of the Beam 3, he bought it and he told me it can be routed. Even though it's from China, you can install Google Play on it, which is for me the, you know, biggest factor to get the phone, because if I couldn't install Google Play on it, it would be pointless. It will be 1 millimeter thinner than the current Beam. It will have a 4.1.2, so a better operating system.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
all right, hey gentlemen, we have actually run out of time. Chris, I want to hear more about it. And the Galaxy Beam is something we've all been hearing about for the last couple of years about Pico projection. It's the one that came out with the ads that got everybody started and excited about it. But we do have to end the show. 30 minutes goes by faster than one can imagine. I want to thank our guest. He is Chris Coppola from All About the Galaxy Beam. It's on YouTube. It's a great series of videos. Check them out. Send him questions. You can answer them in several languages, so it's very advantageous.
Any language you want.
Any language you want. There you go. And of course, this show is brought to you by Paul and Rich Marganski. Those are the gentlemen right there of PicoPros.com. That's PicoPros.com, your premier website for news and information on the Pico projection revolution. Gentlemen, thank you very much for today.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
George.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Chris, very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Chris.
All right.
We'll be watching your show when you get the Galaxy 3.
By the way, there's much more to come. Well, there wasn't enough time, but what I wanted to say last, actually, I was thinking of creating a phone, but I will only do that when the audience will grow. And there is one company which I want the phone to reproduce. I'm going to make a proper concept, and once I have 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to work on it properly. So, because in my opinion, the ideal projector phone has not been created yet.
All right, well, cool. Thank you very much, gentlemen. This has been PICO PROspectives, brought to you by the PICOPros.com, gentlemen, and AVNation. Please check us out at avnation.tv, where you'll find this and many more Pro AV shows, maker and DIY shows. Join us there. Send us your suggestions. We hope to hear from you soon. Thank you for watching.